Hello, friends. Welcome back to Full Bloom. It's a great evening, and we have a bonus episode for you today because we couldn't help ourselves with some of the newest news today. Heidi, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about 2020 vision, Yeezy 2020, the big 4th of July announcement that happened over this weekend from none other than Yeezy, Kanye West, whatever you want to call him. He announced he's running for president, and we're here for it. We're going to talk about it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be such an interesting venture, but stick tuned. We are going to break it all down for you. Okay, so Heidi, I wanted to hear, first of all, what your reaction was when you just first saw it. I think that's the most important thing. Where were you when Kanye said, I want to be president?
I honestly, I was going to take a Twitter break. Of course, that's like the classic thing.
Yeah.
I was going to take a Twitter break. I'm like, no, stepping away. I'm going to do something else. It's the 4th of July. I'm just going to relax. I was going to watch Dark, which the new season came out, and I was just going to get all into that and get all confused and, go through that. Actually, what happened was my wife took a nap. She fell asleep, and I was just like, well, guess we're not watching Dark. So I was like, what am I going to do? All right, let's check Twitter. And it was, it was literally like one of the first things that I saw when I got on there, and I was just like, oh my God. Immediate reaction was to just share it with like one of the group chats I'm in and just watch everybody else's reaction. And then actually I got really excited, actually. Like, I mean, it seems naive or silly or dumb, but we're like in a really dark time in our country, and we've all been locked up for months. And, I've just been talking about politics and Biden and Trump and all this, whatever, dark horse duo stuff and all this stuff. And then, honestly, it lightened my evening. It lightened my mood. I thought it was kind of hilarious and kind of exciting and just like a what the fuck kind of 2020 like way. Like it's the most 2020 thing that could happen kind of feeling, like just like what next? Like what else can happen? So I actually got kind of excited, and I actually maybe it's just a brilliant marketing scheme, but I immediately turned on Kanye, and I know a lot of other people did too.
They were like, great for sales for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, let's bump some Kanye then. What's up? And I got pretty happy, and I was like, he has a lot of really good music. I mean, to be honest, the dude's made me way more happy than Biden or Trump have ever made me in my entire life, just based on the fact that he's created some good music. So in a way, he's already brought me more joy than our other options. Yeah. So I was actually kind of happy, and we had a lot of fun just talking in a group chat, going back and forth about it with some friends. And I actually was just kind of excited and elated as my first reaction, just visceral. Without processing at all.
I echo that. July 4th. I had the exact same game plan, minus Dark, which everyone's told me I got to get into. But I was enjoying my July 4th family. We were having dinner at the time. And, it's probably not a good thing that I'm constantly on Twitter during mealtime. But I was. And I just stop. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What?
Like my first reaction was just, what the fuck? There's no other way I could explain it. And then I'm, you're right. It gave me a lot of joy in the sense, I was in this mindset where, I'm hyper-focused down ballot, mainly because there's nothing exciting at the top of the ballot, because we've been stuck with Joe Biden and we've been stuck with Donald Trump as the main contending options. And I'm not saying I'm necessarily going to vote for Kanye, but I am going to say that this at least made the presidential election fun. Which otherwise we were going to have fun maybe during the debates. And frankly, the fun of those debates was mainly going to be watching old men struggle, which is kind of sad. And Kanye simply just added that, okay, this is 2020 to its core. Anything can happen. There's been this running joke that every month is going to deliver us a crisis or just something completely off the wall. And I'm like, okay, 4 days in, we know what it is.
Go.
and the fact is, it's so Kanye to do it on July 4th. It's just like, yeah, we're doing all these patriots, and you know what? You might be all missing out on your fireworks this year, but Ye is going to provide. And my first reaction was, okay, let me just enjoy myself for a bit. Like, let's not even put on the political hat of like, is this feasible or not? Let's just revel in the fact that this is where we're at as a country. And then my second reaction was, okay, like obviously temper expectations. Like it's not going to be like he's going to win. But you know what? Appreciate it for what it is. And I enjoyed myself on Twitter for a bit. And I got so annoyed because Biden people are buzzkills and they were just shaming me for having any fun with this. And I kept on being like, hey, I'm probably still going to vote for him. I know you disagree with that. But like, just chill out and let me enjoy myself. And they're all like, no, this is going to ruin everything. And then to me, I'm just like, if Kanye West can ruin your election plans, find yourself a better candidate. Because, like, we know if it was Andrew Yang or Bernie Sanders even who was running for office, no one would be scared. No one. Not a single soul. But
and he wouldn't have even done it because we'd all be so excited and hyped, and like he'd be like, you know, whatever. He'd be Yang Gang at this point if it was Andrew Yang, and there'd be hype, there'd be excitement already, but there's no excitement. So I mean, I got to give it to him for lightening the mood. I mean, at the very, very least, I mean, it lightened the mood. I mean, some people came out with some funny videos. Like, people were having a good time. There's memes. The memes are pretty classic.
Oh,
so, I mean, there's a lot of good things.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's the craziest thing to me. I honestly believe, let's say he runs out the whole thing. He'll end up, despite the ballot access problems, he'll probably beat the Libertarian and Green Party combined. That's just where we are with politics right now. Because like there's a cult of personality, and it's not like, you know, frankly, in some other years, I'm like, oh, these are like semi-competent. I don't love these two. Like when they had Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, I'm like, you know what? These are kind of serious people with like, I don't have to completely be afraid. This year, I'm just like not inspired by the candidates, and no offense to Angela Walker, who's a great guest. If you were the presidential candidate for the Green Party, this would be a different thing. Howie's another deal, but I don't feel inspired by any single person who's leading a ticket right now. And so Kanye just like, frankly, just said, okay, you know what? I otherwise was only going to pay attention to the presidential election for these debates, and you know, frankly, you got to kind of keep tabs on it. It is going to be whoever the most powerful leader in the world is. And frankly, I have some prospects where I'm hoping Yang gets that administration spot with Biden. But otherwise, I was just like, okay, head down. We're going down ballot. And this let me have fun again with the presidential race. I wanted to ask, in your opinion, first, let's put on our serious hats for one moment, because this can be a lot of fun, and we'll get to the serious stuff again. Do you think we should have like disdain, support of Kanye, make any acknowledgement of Kanye beyond this video? Does he have a shot? Where are you at in terms of like presidential hopes? Because I know you're not as much of a fan of Joe Biden as me, and I'm already not a fan of Joe Biden.
This is tough because honestly, this is just where I'm at. I mean, this is how bad I feel like things have gotten. And this is not necessarily my rational brain. This is definitely more my emotional brain. But if I go to the ballot box, you know, it's not a ballot box here. If I get my thing in the mail in Oregon, but the ballot box. But if I'm sitting here at home and I'm looking and I just see Trump, you know, Donald Trump, can't stand him. Joe Biden, slightly better. Kanye West, fuck, man. Like, he's at least, like, brought joy to my life. And it's the ultimate kind of 2020 protest, F you.
Hey,
F
we don't even know his policy yet. It could be good. It could be disastrous. We have no idea yet.
Right? I get that. But, like, I just feel like right now we're in a disaster. We have a disaster of a president. We have Joe Biden, who I do agree is better. However, if you look at his actual record, a lot of concern there. A lot of concern. The crime bill in the 90s. There's just a lot of concern that I have for his record. So, yeah, I mean, Kanye could definitely be a horrible, awful, terrible president. Trump is definitely a horrible, awful, terrible president. Joe Biden could definitely be a horrible, awful, terrible president. So, I mean, I just feel like this is where we're at. We are faced with some of the worst possible options that you could have. And me as a serious person, as a serious politician, thinking logically, thinking factually, I mean, I would go Joe Biden. But then again, you know, we're in 2020. This is a dark time. This is not how I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking I want to be inspired.
Oregon's going blue anyway.
Yeah, I want to be inspired. I want something exciting. And I've been asking for that. I've been begging for some kind of inspiration and in politics. And Andrew Yang was providing that to me. When he dropped out, I lost it. I ran for office to keep my kind of motivation, my inspiration going. And then now here we are again. You know, it's just like to where I had no inspiration, and it's providing that. And I mean, I think that it would send a big signal, like to.
Oh, it's the ultimate protest vote. It is I hate this system so much. I'm gonna put a rapper in charge who thinks he's a god. Like, that's just saying I do not like status quo in the least. And you know what? I still, as I admonish, I would say the best person probably. And this is barring like some policy platform, which I don't know if we'll ever get. He might just run on the fact that Kanye is Kanye. But I would say that it's probably like Joe Biden. And I made this comment on Twitter. I actually think like Kanye, like without releasing a policy platform, could end up being better on like criminal justice reform already. Like he was part of the advocacy group that led to like the First Step Act. Under the Trump administration, the pardoning of many a criminal. And you could say some of that's Kim Kardashian West, but frankly, in my opinion, that's probably the most likely VP in the Kanye sweepstakes. So I see that being a big platform. And when you look at some of his resolve on certain like topics, like famous song lyrics of his, like, you know, frankly, having money isn't everything, but not having it is. That makes me think that there's some potential like poverty approach that'll come in there. And so I take it as we don't have to vote yet, so we don't have to make a full decision yet. And if you're in a swing state, I'm sorry, you guys have to be the rational adults. That's the price you pay for being in an electoral college. But us like safe staters get to like consider, do we want to just send a signal, or do we want to like, which signal do we want to send? Do we want to send the firm rejection of Trump signal and helping Joe Biden beat him by wide national margins? Or do we want to say the fuck the duopoly signal and vote Kanye West?
I mean, think about it this way. Who do you honestly think is more likely, and you kind of touched on it, is more likely to pass UBI? Really, who do you think? Do you really think Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or Kanye West? Like, who do you think?
I would honestly, at this point, probably still go with Joe Biden. I know that's going to be an unpopular opinion.
I don't know. Yay Bucks. Yay Bucks.
You're not wrong. And there definitely is a potential. I don't know enough about the man's politics. And like for me, Joe Biden has the chance of doing it for just simply the peers he kind of is keeping around him, like some like UBI curious VPs. Obama liked it. Hillary wanted to say she liked it. She just didn't know how to message it. Hell, you're getting some of these like people we normally thought were establishment candidates to back the emergency support bill. Hell, my congressman, who I was briefly running against, embraced the bill. He's a disasters candidate, and he's still embraced it. Tim Ryan became a Yang Gang candidate after like basically laughing at these ideas at the beginning. Like we're making some evolution, and I think like a 2023 UBI bill as Biden's heading out the door as a transitionary candidate, there is potential there. And there is potential in a Kanye world. I don't know nearly enough about his like politics beyond his like family getting involved in criminal justice reform and calling out George W. Bush for not caring about black people and helping in natural disasters. I think it was Katrina at the time. So I expect he'll do something for the black community and trying to empower them. I expect he'll do something on criminal justice reform. Beyond that, I got no clue. So who's most likely? I'm going to take Joe Biden just because I feel like his peer group has some favorability for it.
Maybe you're a lot more hopeful about Joe than I am, but we know this. But
if I wasn't, I'd be such a depressed person right now. Maybe I'm foolish.
I am a depressed person. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's why, yay, 2020. And I love that he used 2020 vision because I'm just cheesy like that. And I've been waiting for a candidate to just say 2020 vision, say anything. Like, it's
and
just
I will give Kanye one more piece of credit. Like, Elon Musk immediately came out and endorsed him. And Elon Musk likes UBI because he had previously endorsed Andrew Yang. So
that's what I'm saying.
And they're friends. They had the most recent post before his presidential post was him and Elon Musk both wearing like orange, you know, Elon with the little orange and him in an orange jacket. Yeah. And so I have to imagine like Elon Musk probably knew this was happening because Elon came quick to that announcement too. Like they probably were chatting about this.
Yeah, I probably texted him. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna drop it, man," and he's like, "Okay." Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I personally, there's a lot of billionaires that are pro UBI, and I mean, I know people like to hate on billionaires, but there's actually a lot of billionaires.
There's actually a lot of them
that have come out for UBI, and why? Because they know what's happening. They know that we freaking need it. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, people don't want to trust billionaires, but I honestly think they have the knowledge, you know, behind the scenes that says that we need it, that it's absolutely necessary, inevitable, and the sooner that we get ahead of it, you know, the better we can avoid a lot of crises that are on the way. So I'm going to vote Kanye is most likely to pass a UBI in his first term without knowing anything about him, without him having a website, a platform, or saying anything else.
You know what? The other thing is just like, if Kanye somehow became president, Congress would be like, what the fuck? We gotta do something. We gotta like help the people. Otherwise we're next. Like that's kind of in my opinion where it comes from is just like, he would be truly even more than Donald Trump, who kind of, for all his flaws, kind of still put on like the semi-professional veneer of like, I'm a businessman. I run organizations. Kanye, sure, he's trying to sell his yays, but like he's never had that experience. I think that would be a true shock to the system. I think the next thing I'd love to say is just like let's look at the actual tweet and like look at how Kanye phrased his announcement.
Yeah, let's please.
So we have here. Ye comes with, we must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I am running for president of the United States, 2020 vision. And so this kind of gets me to, and let's just show like the Elon Musk thing that we said before, you have my full support. So this came pretty damn quick. To me, this gives me some feelings of what we were kind of talking with Paget the other day in the idea of the dark horse duo type of idea. He wants to try and create this unity 2020, as Brett Weinstein would call it. I wanted to hear, in your opinion, do you think it makes sense for the people who are supporting that idea? I will admit I am not one of those. To adopt Kanye West as their horse one.
I mean, what other option do they have? I think the main problem that they have right now is they're like a ticket without a ticket, you know, like they don't have like a person. So what other option, honestly, would they have? They'd have to go and recruit and find some random people that'd be willing to do it. And, you know, they already have somebody who'd be willing to do it. I mean, honestly, like when he reached out to Kanye, you know, when Brett did, I know that people were like, oh my God, you're not serious. And it's like, what other option does he have? It's freaking July. And it's like so I honestly think, I mean, why wouldn't they? Like, why wouldn't they go with somebody who's a freaking billionaire, who's already endorsed by another billionaire? Because funding is obviously one of their main issues. They can cross that one off because they have ballot access as an issue. They have funding as an issue. They have groundswell as an issue. They have name recognition as an issue. I mean, that solves all of them except ballot access, literally. Yeah. Because so it's like, why would they not go?
I mean, like, the person it kind of removes maybe like when they originally framed the idea of like, it was originally Yang and McRaven. They tried to give like 3 criteria. Someone who is brave, someone who's patriotic, and someone who's competent. And I feel like with Yang and McRaven, they're like, they got that respectability, that seriousness factor almost that they were kind of looking for in what they were describing as competent. With Kanye, you add the hurdle of, do I take this seriously? Like, because it is Kanye. But you're right. Everything else gets checked off the board except for ballot access. And I frankly think it's not going to go anywhere. But if you want to, like, set this up as an idea for, let's say, 2024, and this is like the first go round of it, this at least gets the idea out there. And I think that's kind of like the best prospect for this idea, because frankly, I would not have been nearly as hesitant about this idea if it was like a game plan for 2024. It's just that there's so many hurdles that this would have to go through in 2020 that it just doesn't seem realistically feasible. And there's the whole Trump aspect. Do we want to enable him potentially getting a second term? And I know there's the fail-safes, but I have some concerns about that nonetheless. But if you were telling me, let's game plan, let's get the idea of this out there for 2024, now I'm like, okay, you have 4 years, you'll have ballot access, you can rally people around whatever disastrous choice who gets elected, and you go from there. So this at least will kind of, if they do end up working together, get the idea out there. And I hope, if they're smart about this, it'll be a quick pull so that they don't like have lingering over them that they were a spoiler for this election, but that they just got the idea out there and said, we're doing this again in 2024 because now we'll have full ballot access. We will be on every ballot. We're coming for you, Joe or Trump, one way or another. And like put them on the clock and say, you're on notice.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good argument that I've certainly heard from people who are skeptical yet, you know, kind of understand where the idea is coming from. So, yeah, definitely understand that. I mean, I don't know. I just think that, Kanye solves a lot of the problems that I initially thought that they would have, because even like McRaven Yang, as much as I love Yang, you know, he did literally just run this election.
Neither have the same name recognition nor the money.
And then McRaven, most people haven't even heard of him at all. I mean, Yang now has more name recognition than the other guy on the ticket. I don't know if that's the best way to go. Just with like garnering a groundswell and a support. So yeah, I mean, there's the chicken and egg problem with the Unity 2020 plan, is that you have to create the groundswell first before you can recruit the candidate. But then how do you create a groundswell if you don't have a candidate? Because that's what gets people excited, is the person that's running. And so I do think Kanye does solve that. I mean, I think that you need, I mean, honestly, Trump was a master at it, but you need to have like people have a strong emotional reaction to you as a candidate. And he got that. I mean, it's like people either love Trump or they hate Trump. There's not a whole lot of people that are just like, meh, got no opinion or feelings about the guy at all. He's just very blah to me. Like, no one really says that, you know? Like,
honestly, that begs the question of like, we'll take this off screen, but like it begs the question of like, who are these undecided voters left still? And frankly, what does this whole like dark horse and Kanye thing say about the state of existing third parties? Like, if you're the Green, I thought about this the other day. I'm like, if I'm the Green Party and the Libertarian Party, I'm just thinking like, oh fuck, I was supposed to be the protest vote this year. Are we that much of a joke? We're gonna get beat by Kanye?
Yeah, easily. I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, the third parties in this country have clearly been failing. I mean, most of the time they don't even get the 5%. I mean, you know, let's just be real. I mean, they're not exciting anybody. Nobody's excited over them to that extent that they would need them to be, to even garner funding, to even get the 5% that they would need, which you'd think would be somewhat easy. I mean, that's not a massive percentage. And I mean, you could, they can't even get people that like to register to vote, to go vote for them, you know, to up to 5%. That's not even that many people in a lot of these states. So that's concerning. I'd be concerned. If I was a Green Party or a Libertarian, I'd be like, man, we are messing up. We are really, really screwing this up here.
It's so true. And, well, this will be like one of the final topics we'll talk about before we answer a couple of questions from the chat. So if you have questions for us, start posting them now while we're wrapping up this. But to your point, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think this goes to the flaw of these like third parties putting so much weight into the presidential elections. Like, have you ever heard, like, obviously we have one case where I've heard firsthand, like David Kim was helping out a Green Party candidate in like LA. But so rarely do we hear these like localized movements for these parties. And it's a lot easier to win 100, 1,000 people who turn up for a local election where there's generally like smaller voter turnout compared to winning, I don't know, like 60 million people, like 45 million people. Like, it's just a lot easier. And frankly, once you have people on these localized levels, guess what? You can advance up the food chain because then you have those local endorsements who can rally people in certain communities for you. And I hate seeing every year people investing into this. And frankly, even in 2016, the idea of doing the recount of all those places that Jill Stein funded, it's just like, you're using your resources so badly. I have not seen any comprehensive strategy of how you do politics. Like, I see your policy platforms. I don't hate it. I have disagreements here and there, but it's largely good, probably better than what Hillary had or what Joe Biden's having. But, like, come on, what's the game plan? Like, at least the libertarians, they got super lucky. Amash flipped, and so they got someone in Congress. We'll see how long Amash stays in Congress. But, like, they now have one on the board. The Green Party, which is supposed to represent, like, progressives, just never does anything. Like, they got, I think it was, like, 1.08% during the Hillary Clinton year. And this is after Bernie supporters felt scorned from feeling cheated. And they might feel that again, but it's definitely, in my opinion, less so than during that election cycle. And they only got them to 1.08%. Like, and that was with Jill Stein, who was a longtime party member, had some actual name recognition outside of just the party for some of her activist work. Not a ton, but some. And it's only at that. Like, you need a new game plan compared to just running these candidates every year. I'd be curious in your opinion, how would do you think they can ever grow without like the Democrats and Republicans passing reform first? Or like, what would you recommend they do? Give up?
I'm not very hopeful about their prospects. I mean, sure, I guess they could change their game plan, but I don't know. Whenever I hear them talk, like you said, I just don't see that pragmatism, that political know-how and knowledge required to actually take over the party system. So I don't think they should necessarily give up. I think that we should still have third parties. It's still valid. We still need other perspectives, and they should still be there in the conversation. But yeah, I think that they should work on democracy reform, probably. Like, they should all like start working on getting people democracy dollars, doing ranked choice voting and other reforms. They should start actually working on policy that could make them more viable. That's probably what I would do. But it seems like, to me, it just seems like an ego thing at some point when you're like, okay, but do you really want this to happen? Or do you just want to like run, do you just want to run as a libertarian, just want to run as a Green Party, which is still fine. It's your right. It's valid. You're getting good ideas out. I'm totally for it. But yeah, at some point,
getting good ideas out, you kind of got to get the ideas out to get good ideas out.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just like, I don't disagree fully with them running or think they should totally give up, but I do think they should definitely have a better strategy because it's clearly not working right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's now answer some of the chat's questions as we wrap up here. So the first one comes from Nell. He asked us, my only question is, could we be potentially creating Andrew's opponent for 2024 by pushing Unity 2020? How do you feel about that? Do you think in 2024 Yang would even sign up for this type of an idea? And are we creating his opponent potentially?
I mean, that's such I don't know. There's so many components to that because you have to like assume that, first of all, that, us supporting Biden isn't making it harder for Andrew in 2024. I think there's kind of an assumption there within that question almost that, if you agree with that line of thinking, you almost have to be like, well, yeah, maybe we should just all vote for Trump then, because that does make it more open for a Yang 2024. I mean, it just would. I mean, if you have a Democratic president go in and then potentially have a VP that runs the next time, I feel like that's harder for somebody like an Andrew Yang. I feel like it would be easier if Trump gets another term for Andrew Yang in 2024. But is that the right line of thinking to be going down? Isn't that kind of a dangerous line of thinking for a whole scorn of, tons of other reasons? So we can't only be thinking about Andrew Yang and making every single decision, as like Andrew Yang's going to be running in 2024 when he hasn't said for sure he's going to be, and we don't know if he is, and we don't know what the situation is going to be, and we still need to figure out what's going to happen this year. So I just feel like there's too many variables in that to say that we could potentially be creating his opponent, because either way, we are. If we're going to vote Biden, we are. And then we're not going to vote Trump because, just generally, we disagree with that. Some people will, I'm sure, but it's just, I don't know. There's a disconnect there in the logic that I'm not connecting.
I kind of agree with your sentiment on the whole. One way or another, we are kind of going to be creating an opponent, whether it be, in my opinion, Joe Biden's VP. If he wins, I don't think Joe Biden will run again, or if it is this unity ticket. And I think voting for Trump is frankly not an acceptable outcome for myself. Like for me, Yang was the best this year, and I like Yang, and we'll be interviewing him tomorrow, and I'll be telling him how much I like him. But here's the thing. The goal has never been to make sure Yang is president. The goal is to get the agenda that he was championing in his campaign accomplished. And so we have to move the needle, in my opinion, towards that direction. And I don't think it moves the needle much, but it stops the needle from regressing if we elect Joe Biden. I have some reservations. He'll be worse in some areas, frankly, but I think it gets us closer to the policy goals being realized. Yeah. And he's going to clearly make his case tomorrow. That'll be one of the questions we ask him is why should we be backing Joe Biden? And I think he's going to admit we're going to get closer to his policies. He's on the record said multiple times, and maybe this is, he is as hopeful and sometimes foolish as we are, thinking good things can maybe happen under Biden comparatively. But he said UBI is a thing he thinks Joe Biden will sign into law in his first term.
Yeah, I know. He said that. Like I said, he's a lot more optimistic than I am in a lot of things. And, a lot of people are. I think that, I just think that creating Andrew's opponent, like you said, you said it right at the beginning, it's not our goal to have Andrew as president. It's not even necessarily his goal. Yeah. He doesn't necessarily need to be president, but we do need UBI. We do need democracy reform. We do need a more human-centered capitalism. And I think that these are things that, we need to push forward. I don't know if incrementalism of Joe Biden is the way, but what my main concern is, despite that, my main concern about Trump is actually a bit different. It's actually more his rallying of white supremacy that I find incredibly dangerous. So I just think he's dangerous as a leader in general, and incompetent, and has just been
utter disaster.
It's just been a complete failure, and you can see it with COVID-19 response. You can see it in so many different ways. And I don't like the way that our country is going under his leadership. And that's the main thing. So even if Joe Biden's a total dud and does nothing, I got to admit that we got to get somebody that I personally feel is dangerous out for other reasons besides policy, because it's not all about policy. Sometimes it's just about the energy, the leadership, the direction that something is going in.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I will say, this will be controversial for the Yang gang out there, but I actually think the most realistic way Yang ends up on a ticket in 2024 is Kamala Harris's VP. They have a good relationship. She has flirted with it with her LIFT Act, ideas close to UBI. She did the emergency UBI bill in the Senate. She is one of the leading VP choices on Joe Biden's shortlist right now. So all things given, if I was a gambling man, which I actually am, I put that as the most likely chance of Yang getting on a ticket. Let's go to our next question. This comes from Caroline. Hello, Caroline. Less serious question, but what other non-politician celebrities would you guys like to see run for president? Heidi, want to start?
Non-politician celebrities that I'd like to see run for president. I don't know. I mean, I've flirted with Oprah before. The idea of Oprah running, I think that she could crush it. So, I mean, that's important for me in a celebrity pick. I like The Rock. I think The Rock would crush it too. I think he'd have an awesome campaign. It'd be exciting. And I'm just going strictly off of, inspiring figures. Not anything to do with policy or politics necessarily, because I have no idea what they would do. But that's just where I'm at. I just want somebody that's inspiring at this point. So I would go with some, inspirational figures. I wish Arnold Schwarzenegger, to be honest.
Too bad he's not eligible. Yeah.
No, but I actually really like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he actually did a lot of great things in California, I feel. I actually think he's a better leader than a lot of choices, but he's not eligible. So I'll go with that for now as far as celebrities.
Okay, I am very dead set on this ticket. Are you all ready? Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart. Give me the pair. I want that ticket. And in that order, just because I'm very cynical about America's relationship with having a Jewish president. But Colbert being the Catholic, I think he can pull it through. And I frankly love the two and their charisma and understanding of politics. And I think they do surprisingly well with their ability to both know the issues, generally speaking, as well as having that comedic flair. A backup is frankly like Dave Chappelle, because I just feel like he's actually beloved in almost every direction. Like, yeah, he'll have some controversies here and there, but like it's nearly impossible to cancel Dave Chappelle. So yeah, those would be the people I'd pick as celebrities if I was to actually want the celebrities to be our president. Frankly, yeah. I would actually really want the Jon Stewart ticket. Like, push aside the politicians, I would actually take that.
That is a good one.
Okay, let's see. What's our next question that we have here? Okay, he asks, what do we think about Jesse Ventura as a dark horse candidate? I think he's turned it down. And I don't think he's going to take it. And I also wonder why we would want to nominate someone who pushed Trump to run on the Reform Party in 2000. He's actually kind of economically conservative in a lot of ways. I like his social policy and I like his transparency and bluntness, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
I like Jesse Ventura. I mean, he has some things that are problematic, but I mean, sure. I mean, it would be okay. I don't think it would be the greatest pick, but it'd be better than nobody, which is what we have.
Yeah. I'll give that. He's better than any of the options on the board. I just don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think he's amazing. I just think he's better than what we got right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to our next one. Any advice for teachers starting school next month? Oh.
God.
Good luck.
I honestly don't know. Wear a mask. Wash your hands constantly.
Are they even going into like the schools? Like I know Trump wants that. That's what he like.
Some places are. Treated. Some places are opening. I think Florida is, if I'm not mistaken.
Honestly, expect to do a lot of mental health like help for the kids. Like I think they're going to be a little bugged out from the whole situation and having to not be able to play around as easily as they would have otherwise because of all the restrictions that'll likely be added. So honestly, take time to just have one-on-one time with students if you can, I guess is my advice.
Yeah. Use technology when possible too. Yeah. I don't know, try to limit
ease homework. That'll make them happy. I don't know.
Everything. Just
yeah, I guess also like inspire some hope. Like, you know what? We lie to kids all the time. Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, all that. Just give them hope. They don't have to deal with the dark realities that adulthood comes with, especially if you're dealing with like elementary school kids. Like give them hope and don't try and get into the politics of it all. Just stay out of it and just say, we're doing this, we're doing our best, and it's going to end soon. Okay. That's what I'm hoping.
We hope it is. And don't start crying when you say that because they'll see the fear in your eyes.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to our next one. David asks, do we think these non-politician celebrity candidates would be better off running in the Libertarian and Green primary rather than running as an independent?
Probably not. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think honestly being an independent has more of an advantage than being stuck with a minor party at this point. I don't think so. I mean, if I were going to do it, I'd rather do it independent for sure. And then I'd pay some really, crazy lawyers to go in and try to get on the ballots in those states. Try to kick the Green and Libertarian or other minor parties that might be on the ballot in some states and see if I can, pay them off or something to get on the ballot there and run independent everywhere that I could, and not be tied to a party because there's so much baggage that parties have. I mean, I personally think we need to abolish parties. Just throw that in there because parties have baggage. You as an independent candidate can do whatever the heck you want without a party breathing down your back. So
I wholeheartedly agree with your sentiment on abolishing parties. That'll be something I guess we'll share as co-hosts of this. We'll constantly try and kick the parties to the side. In the short term, I think it's not going to matter. In the long term, like if you get one of these people we were talking about beforehand, I think there's some appeal in independence because, as we said beforehand, it allows you to come in without like upsetting the status quo of what that party is. Like, frankly, is the Green Party infrastructure going to support you if you don't adopt most of the Green Party platform? No. And you know what? Maybe they should. But then it's just like, oh, well, this party stands for nothing. They just completely fell in line with this candidate. So I just think that, sure, if there's an ideological complete alignment to these parties where you already believe in their platform and you're famous, maybe there's some synergy. But otherwise, you're the one with the pull. As we said beforehand, we think Kanye could probably beat the Libertarian and Green Party parties combined in this election cycle. So what value are the parties really bringing you? Sure, maybe some infrastructure. But as we talked about beforehand, they have not done a good job of building the infrastructure. So what are we talking about here? Okay, I think that is our final question. So, Heidi, do you have any final thoughts you wanted to share on this whole Kanye announcement?
Not really. It's just, I would just say that politicians, you guys need to step up and start bringing some more joy, and you're bringing some more inspiration and some more hope and making people more excited about you, or we're only going to see more and more rich celebrities being able to step up and take away all your thunder with a single tweet. And that is just sad. So step up your freaking game because this is what's going to continue to happen. And I don't see it going well for you. So politicians, step up your game, be more exciting, bring more hope, bring more joy, make people want to vote for you, make people excited about it, or your days are numbered.
I'm going to keep it short. I completely agree with that. What Heidi said. It's just true. It's sad that this is going to get so much traction and bring so much hope because we're just feeling that desperate. So yeah, your days are numbered because you know what? You got old people for now, but old people die. Young people want something new. So guess what? We're coming for you.
Gen Z's coming for you, and they got a sense of humor, so watch out.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, with that being said, let's talk about what we got upcoming this week.
Yes.
So tomorrow, this is a big one. You're all going to want to be there. Share this video because of this. Make sure people know about this. We're interviewing Andrew Yang.
Yes.
Long time coming. We got a lot to cover in that. So frankly, we know the man's busy. We fought him for 10 extra minutes in scheduling. So guess what? We're going to choose our questions. So you'll have to stay tuned to that. We have a really packed agenda focusing on past, present, and then future. Heidi, want to tease a couple of the subjects that we're going to be covering with him tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing we definitely want to cover is healthcare. We want to get some clarity on that, on his whole position. So we're gonna talk about that for sure. We are going to talk a little bit about Biden, why people should vote for Biden. A lot of people have mixed feelings about it, and we want to figure out, why that's the best thing to do right now. And Other than that, we'll just talk about the future. And like you said, so we'll talk about what's coming and try to tease out some fun stuff from Andrew about the future and what's going on.
Yes, and we'll definitely ask him about Kanye tomorrow. We'll be the first one to get him on the record for that. We
have to. We have to. We have to ask him about Kanye, of course. I mean, we have to throw it in. You just have to. Yeah. So it'll be good. We'll get him on the record on a couple fun things, and we'll have a good time. And we're excited. So definitely be there. It's going to be 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. And it should be streaming live everywhere. I believe I got my live stream working on Twitter, so it should be on Hill of Roses, YouTube. It's going to be on Periscope, our Twitter account, my Twitter account, and Facebook.
And Twitch,
Twitch.
And so, you're all going to want to take some clips from this because we're going to get him on the record of some of the very important things if we do get these Yang 2024 ideas or, frankly, other offices that he might be holding. So this is going to be a clippable episode, so you're going to want to share it so that a lot of people are also aware of where Yang is on the position. And because hopefully you guys love us, we hope that's the case. We don't know, but we hope you will tune in and we hope you'll share it. Beyond that, during the week, we're also going to be having on Adam Christensen, who is a congressional candidate in Florida's 3rd District. That'll be myself and him one-on-one. Then we'll be coming back here with Full Bloom again. On Thursday, we'll be talking with one of our individual contributors at the network, David Walker, and how the Republicans basically threw away the Asian vote. And frankly, it's going to get a little passionate in there. It's going to be a funny and angry and just disappointing episode in the sense of we're, again, disappointed in the two-party system, just complete ineptitude at reading the room. And then we'll close out the week again with another contributor at our network. That'll be Alana Torres-Pepito and I talking about how civil rights and economic inequality are directly intertwined, and we have to have that conversation. So we have a lot in store for you guys. So thank you all for being here at today's stream. Heidi, have any last words for the folks out there?
Not really. Just, just stay inspired, bump some Kanye tonight. Just feel good. Feel good, guys.
I feel bad. We didn't even ask. What's your favorite Kanye song? We gotta answer that before we go.
I like All of the Lights personally.
Yeah, I certainly enjoy that song. I'll go with just Power because we're gonna have to ask ourselves that question. Should that one man have all that power? With that said, Rosebuds, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Full Bloom. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 a.m. Pacific.